Hamilton's Horrid Hullabaloo by Marianna Heusler. This series is dedicated to all the wonderful Hewitt girls I was privileged to teach, with a special thanks to Savannah Rosen for her invaluable help. Chapter 1. The Lost Girl. On a gray autumn morning, Hannah Hamilton woke up, something she had done every day for 12 years. But instead of being in her own pink and green bedroom with the flowered wallpaper and the ivory rug and the geranium-printed comforter, she found herself in a strange room, lying on a cot, covered by a thin, ripped, ragged sheet. Her own dresser, stuffed to the brim with colorful sweaters and printed T-shirts, had been replaced by one scratched bureau. A computer with an iPad rested on her desk at home. The small and bare desk nestled in the corner of this room had a Bible on top of it. Gone from the walls were posters of her favorite rap stars and her inspirational quotes. Instead, on the peeling and swollen wall, she spotted a plastic crucifix where Jesus hung by a thread. Hannah listened for the familiar sound of her parents bantering, but instead she heard a child crying. The mournful sound seemed to be coming from the other side of the thin wall. Slowly she rose, her heart beating like the scared rabbit her dog Godiva had once trapped. Where was she, and how had she come to be in this odd place? She wished she could remember. Well, one thing was for certain. She was going to find her way back to 13 Morning Glory Lane, her own home, as soon as possible. She scrambled to her feet and walked towards the closed door. She touched the knob, which was burning hot. She managed to get the door open, but no sooner had she done that when she heard a whispering, almost like the steam radiator which was hissing in the corner of under the high frosted window. But it wasn't the steam radiator. She spotted a bathroom on the floor. The door was wide open and Hannah stood on the threshold. She looked at the concrete walls with spider webs way up high and the cement floor with little mouse droppings in the corner and the chip-stained porcelain sinks with their drip, drip, drip coming from the broken steel water sprouts. The drip, drip, drip was in perfect synchrony, like her glee club. Hannah saw a long staircase straight ahead. Then it started again. Only this time it wasn't whispering at all, more like sobbing, as though someone was in excruciating pain. Slowly she climbed down the steep and creaking stairs. The massive front hall, paneled in dark wood, was damp and deserted. She could hear the wind whistle through the gaps in the stained glass windows. Where was she? Why was she all alone? How long had she been gone? Wouldn't her mother worry and wonder where she was? She tiptoed ahead through the front door and spied an old scarred mirror leaning against the wall. Thinking she must look ghastly, she halted. But she couldn't see anything at all. The mirror only reflected the empty corridor. The mirror must be broken, Hannah reasoned, or maybe it's a trick mirror. Maybe this whole thing is a trick. But why can't I remember how I got here? Or maybe, Hannah thought, maybe I'm in bed and this is just a crazy dream. A rat scrambled by, missing her feet by inches. Hannah clutched her throat and released a scream. Of course, no one could hear her, not even herself, because none of this was real. She watched the rodent disappear under a floorboard. That sound again, like wailing. Suddenly she heard her cell phone ringing the familiar tune, I Don't Care by Demi Lovato, and the sound jogged her memory. She knew where she was. She was in that old convent which had been used as an elementary school. She had gone there with her best friends, Taylor and Dylan, on a dare from Clifford and Jason. Everyone thought the building was haunted because a strange and horrible thing happened 50 years ago. A terrible fire had killed 13 children and 7 nuns. But where were her friends? Why had they left her here all alone? Were they hiding in a closet? Would they suddenly leap out and scare her half to death, which wouldn't be hard to do? She was plenty frightened now, especially when a spider dropped from the ceiling, missing her by inches. Hannah saw it then, her phone on the floor. She could call for help. She bent down to pick it up, but it fell through her fingers and landed with a deafening crash on the concrete floor. She tried a second time, but it jerked right through her hand again and bounced on the floor with a clatter. She had to reach the front door. An escape, because even if she was dreaming, she knew the moment she went outdoors she would wake up. She was so eager to leave that she let out a slight gasp of excitement. Except when she opened her mouth, nothing came out. Then the whispering erupted again like the hissing of logs in a fire. Hannah, Hannah, Hannah. A fierce wind blew behind her. Slowly she turned. A number of children, most of them younger than she, stood frozen. They were dressed strangely in school uniforms. Some of the clothing had burnt marks on them, and one boy had a scarred and blistering face. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "What am I doing here?" The boy stepped forward. "Don't you know?" he asked, limping towards her. "Is this a dream? Or is it really true that this place is haunted?" He pointed with a long, skinny white finger to a newspaper on the floor. Hannah bent down and saw that it was dated 3 days ago. She read it quickly. The body of a 12-year-old girl was discovered in the old elementary school of St. Hedwig. While entering the abandoned building on a dare, Hannah Hamilton fell down the crumbling staircase and broke her neck. Her 2 friends, who will remain anonymous due to their young age, called immediately for help. EMTs tried to revive Miss Hamilton, but they were unsuccessful. Calling hours at the Cogan Funeral Home will take place on October 15th from 3 p.m. until 5 p.m. and again from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. A full Mass will be celebrated at St. Jude's Church on October 16th at 10 o'clock, and burial at St. Michael's Cemetery will follow. In lieu of flowers, the family is requesting donations to the St. Jude Shelter for Homeless Children. Then Hannah knew. The thing that she had feared the most had happened. She was surrounded by ghosts. And worse still, Hannah was now one of them.